Hey y'all, welcome back. Hey, we've got an interesting bird right in the middle of the screen there. So this is a pen of Cornish rock cross meat chickens. We'll try to keep the camera on that one. But they are on, he's going to the water right now. These birds are on day 29 in production. So they are Cornish rock cross meat chickens being raised for poultry production. There are 415 birds in this pen, and we'll bring the camera back around to the bird I want to show you and tell you something about. So Cornish rock cross meat chickens are most distinctive for having the specialization of rapid growth and efficient feed to meat conversion, and being able to be raised for poultry and finished for poultry very quickly. So we raise them for 42 days. In 42-day time, we can have an outcome after the meat chickens have been butchered and processed of 5-pound to 7-pound whole chickens. Cornish rock cross meat chickens are recognizable by their short stature, stocky stature, light pink skin, and by their white feathering. But sometimes we have individuals that express a little bit of a unique feathering, like this little rooster here. So this does not happen very frequently. A day or two ago in our members only shorts, where we're keeping up with this flock day by day, we featured this bird. I want to show y'all this bird also. But most Cornish rock cross meat chickens are going to be totally white feathered, but Cornish rock cross are generally really recognizable. They're almost always totally white feathered, and as they feather in and they cover their skin completely, you just see all white. So to see an individual like this one is really unique. We don't have this happen very often. It certainly does not happen every flock. We order our chicks from a hatchery, from Mount Healthy Hatchery around Cincinnati, Ohio. Every now and then we get a bird like this that has some red feathering expressing. I think it's really pretty, but it's hard to notice at first because, of course, when they're chicks, they're all yellow fluff, and we don't necessarily see much difference at that point. And then as they start to feather in, the feathering started in white, and as they feather in more, when we've had these individuals with a little bit of red feathering, at first it just almost looks like they're stained, which is really kind of odd when you see it in a big group like this, because if you have 414 other chickens and they're not stained on their feathering, why would one be stained on their feathering? And we work at maintaining the floor condition, the floor quality daily, so we're not letting it get dirty. There's not areas where the birds should be getting their feathers stained. But then as the birds feather, you start to realize with one like this, oh, it's not staining. There's nothing like that. The bird's feathering is actually got some red in it. So the wing, it's a little more prominent there. I'm going to try to get to a different angle without the bird moving much. Naturally, as I moved, other birds moved. That bird got up and they all went to the water. So, but that's good. We like them to go to the water. So, at any rate, I just think that's really pretty. So that's just a random, unique feature on that individual. We hardly ever see that happen in our meat birds. There's some roosters right here. You can see by this age, 29, so just over 4 weeks old. The roosters are really easy to recognize with their combs and wattles becoming deeper red and more prominent. There's a couple of hens right there with a rooster in the back. So a couple hens. We've never attempted in our flocks to document or delineate roosters from hens in terms of trying to find how many of each and trying to determine if there's a predictable or consistent ratio from flock to flock. Okay, so we've moved to the other side of the pen now. So we get our birds straight run, which just means we take them as hatched, so there will be males and females in the flock. We know we're getting all the same kind of bird, in this instance Cornish rock cross meat chickens, but we're not specifying we only want roosters or we only want hens. We're saying just we'll take them as hatched. But I have often wondered, just for curiosity's sake, I wonder if there's a consistent and predictable ratio of hens to roosters in the straight run flocks that we get, but we haven't counted, because in the end we're going to take them all to the processor and have them processed into poultry. I don't know if y'all have ever attempted to just count a pen of probably any kind of chickens, but I know when we've attempted to go into a pen of even just like 100 Cornish rock cross meat chickens and try to count them, I can't do it. Somebody probably has a really great talent for it and some really great system, but like it just like boggles my mind to try to count them, because they all look so similar. You start counting and they start moving and you start losing track. But we do count when they move in, and then we attempt to keep a day-to-day count of any flock loss, and then at the end we take a per bird count as we're loading them into the crates too. That particular rooster has really gained some size here in the last couple days. Look at the size in the chicken breast and how that rooster's filling out. He's gonna take him a snooze. There's the one with the red feathering there. So they go to processor on June 11th, 2025. So what is that? Maybe about 13 more days in production. And we're gonna see even more growth in the next 13 days than we've seen to this point. There's a pair of a hen on the right as y'all are looking at the screen, and a rooster on the left. We may have to use the heat lamps again overnight tonight, but next week we're going to have warm temperatures. So probably next week we're probably going to be into running some fans in the barn, which we do that with a lot of caution and a lot of care, because anytime you're dealing with chickens and you start forcing air movement, you're also dealing with any pathogens that are just soil pathogens, and dealing with any pathogens that cling to feather dander. And if you start forcing air movement, you're potentially moving those airborne pathogens around in a way that you weren't before. So we're always very cautious with fans, but when it comes toward the end of production, if we have birds that want to be 65 to 70 degrees and we have temperatures of 85 to 90 degrees, even with our barn doors open, we have to give them a little bit of targeted cooling and moving air from some fans. So that's the dance with meat chickens. Sometimes you're using heat lamps, and then not too much later you're using fans, and you're switching back and forth between the two. So anyway, so that is a neat bird with the red feathering. It's the only one in a flock of 415 is our population now. We did lose 2 overnight from day 28 to day 29. Again, were individuals that actually looked bigger than their peers in the flock. So apparently as they hit a growth spurt, it was more than their organs could sustain. So hopefully we don't have too much more of that, because we are hoping to stay above 400 birds. And looks like next week it's going to be real nice weather, at least for the people. Maybe not for meat birds that are in the finished stage, but we'll get them through it. We'll do our best and we'll get them through it. So y'all take care. God bless you.